My name is Anca Mizumschi Simion, and I'm a Romanian writer living in Phoenix, Arizona. I came into United States 5 years ago, and after 2 years, I wrote a book. It's called My Suspended Land, Țara mea suspendată, and is a book about identity, exile, and inner segregation. For this event, I have chosen to read 2 fragments from the book, and I have chosen to read them in Romanian because they were written in Romanian, and I miss the internal music of my language, and also I miss the mystery, and I apologize if someone cannot understand them. A large part of the book is already translated into English, and all the fragments can be sent to you upon request. Primul fragment se numește Masa de bucătărie. Odată de mult, scriam pe masa de bucătărie în apartamentul meu minuscul dintr-un cartier muncitoresc din București. Masa din bucătărie era totul. Și junglă, și ocean, și peșteră, și loc de casă. Pe toate hărțile lumii, masa mea de bucătărie apărea ca o pată albă, în dreptul căreia scria Hic sunt leones. Cu cât asprimea dictaturii creștea, cu atât creștea și pata mea albă pe hărți. Puteam să fac totul pe masa de bucătărie. Să mă dau cu deltaplanul, să not cu delfinii sau să fac diving în groapa Marianelor, deși pe atunci nici nu știam cuvântul diving. Masa din bucătărie se transforma într-un fel de capsulă a timpului, la cerere, în care atunci când mă urcam, vorbeam cu bunicii mei morți sau cu copiii mei nenăscuți. Era supapa prin care ajungeau la cele 7 centre energetice ale Pământului. La zenit și la nadir. Îmi plăcea mult cuvântul ăsta, nadir. Îl citisem prima dată în cartea de limbă și literatură română de clasa 11-a. Nadir latent. Asta era masa mea de bucătărie. Nadir latent. Dacă te așezai în genunchi și îți înclinai puțin capul, puteai să citești și eticheta de pe spatele ei. Întreprinderea produse de lemn și mobilă București și o dată de fabricație, 16 iunie 1979, control tehnic de calitate, apoi o ștampilă. Nadirul meu latent avea control tehnic de calitate. Dar cine se așeza în genunchi când avea o masă în care încăpea lumea? Nu am știut niciodată cum se simțea Simbad pe covorul lui zburător. Dar masa mea de bucătărie era mult mai mult decât un covor zburător. Era o gaură neagră. Citisem eu undeva în revista Știință și Tehnică că o gaură neagră e o chestie atât de puternică, încât atunci când intră acolo, lumina se curbează din cauza gravității. Îmi plăcea asta, chiar dacă masa mea se prezenta cu melanina plesnită pe la colțuri și zgâriată cu cuțitul cu care mama tăia cartofii pentru prăjit în ulei de porumb. Cel de floarea soarelui nu se găsea și oricum și pentru ăla de porumb trebuia să te scoli la 4 dimineața și să stai la coadă ca să-ți iei rația. Era suficient să mă așez la masă ca să scriu și lumina aia curbă apărea din senin deasupra capului meu. Arăta așa ca o sticlă fluidă pe care o tot plimba prin aer muncitorii la cultea sticlarilor și suflă în ea până o îndoiesc de tot. Apoi o lasă să se răcească. În plus, masa mea de bucătărie mai avea o calitate. Nu numai că îndoia lumina, dar o și strângea de peste tot. Din cameră, din orașul București, din țara România și continentul Europa. De America nu știam cu exactitate nimic. Însă bănuiam că poate o parte din lumina mea ajungea până acolo, scurgându-se pe unde masa nu era bine încleiată și trebuia să o aduc înapoi, să o pun la loc. E foarte posibil că atunci când eu stăteam la coadă pentru 2 kg de ulei de porumb și unul de făină la 4 dimineața, masa mea de bucătărie să adună toată lumina de deasupra continentului America și nimeni să nu-și dea seama. Până la urmă, am cărat masa aia de bucătărie toată viața și am ajuns să luminez cu ea toate continentele. Poate nu l-am luminat de adevăratele, dar sigur le-am contaminat cu lumină. Și, de altfel, dacă întoarceți puțin capul, puteți să mă vedeți chiar acum. Trec, cărând în spate o masă de bucătărie, ca o broască țestoasă, căreia în loc de carapace, lumina îi crește direct din carne.
Hi, my name is Cristina A. Bejan, and I am the Executive Director of Bucharest Inside the Beltway. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Romanian Cultural Institute of New York for this amazing partnership, the literary series, Romanian Women Voices in North America. Now I will present to you the English translation of Anca Mizumschi's poem, Masa de Bucătărie, The Kitchen Table, translated by James Ryan. And I'm going to share his biography briefly. James Ryan was trained as a Romanian translator at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California, and he worked for several years as a Romanian translator under contract to the US government's Joint Publication Research Service. He is currently studying contemporary Romanian literature at Arizona State University. And now we know why he has translated Anca's work, because she is based in Arizona. So onward with The Kitchen Table. At one time, long ago, I used to write at the kitchen table in my minuscule apartment in a workers' district, something that I had forgotten about or had wanted to forget about. The kitchen table was everything: jungle, ocean, desert, and a place for home. On all the maps of the earth, my kitchen table appears as a white spot, to the right of which is written, Hic sunt leonones. The harsher the dictatorship became, the larger the white spot on my map grew. I could do everything at the kitchen table: take up hang gliding, swim with the dolphins, or go diving in the Marianas Trench. Although back then I didn't know that word. The kitchen table would turn into a sort of time capsule upon request, in which, when I would get bored, I would be able to converse with my dead grandparents or with my unborn children. It was this valve through which I could reach the 7 energy centers of the earth, to the zenith and to the nadir. I liked this word, nadir, a lot. I had read it for the first time in the Romanian language and literature book for my 11th year class, Nadir latent. That was my kitchen table, a latent nadir. If you were able to get down on your knees and tilt your head a little, you would have been able to read the label on the back of the table. The Wooden Furniture Products, Enterprise, Bucharest, and a manufacture date, June 16th, 1979. Technical quality control, and then a stamp. My latent nadir had a quality control stamp. But who would get down on their knees when they had a table on which the entire world would fit? I never knew how Sinbad felt on his flying carpet, but my kitchen table was much more than a flying carpet. It was a black hole. I had read somewhere in the Science and Technology magazine that a black hole is something so powerful that when light enters a black hole, it is bent because of the gravity. I liked my table, even if it showed melanin splattering the corners and the scratch from the knife my mother used to cut up potatoes to be cooked in corn oil. Sunflower oil couldn't be found. And anyway, you had to get up at 4 in the morning and stand in line to get your ration. It was enough for me to sit at the table and write, and that bent light would appear out of the blue over my head. That's how it seemed. Like the molten glass that the workers at the glass floors courtyard move around through the air and blow in until they can fold it completely. Then they let it cool. Moreover, my kitchen table had yet another quality. Not only would it bend light, but it would also gather light from everywhere. From the room, from the city of Bucharest, from the country of Romania, and from the continent of Europe. I didn't know anything with certainty about America, but I suspected that perhaps a part of my light even reached that far, flowing down where the table was not well glued together, and I needed to bring it back to put it in its place. It's very possible that while I was standing in line for 2 kilos of corn oil and a kilo of flour at 4 in the morning, my kitchen table was gathering light from all over the American continent, and no one realized it. Finally, I carried that kitchen table around all my life, and I was able to light up all the continents with it. Maybe I didn't really light them up, but I certainly contaminated them with light. And in fact, if you turn your head slightly, you can see me even now. And I'm passing by, carrying on my back a kitchen table, like a turtle that, instead of a shell, has light growing from its flesh. Thank you, Anka, for your beautiful work, and congratulations both Anca and Adela.
Hi everyone, welcome to our program, and I would like to thank the Romanian Cultural Institute of New York as well as Bucharest inside the Beltway for having me on the show today. My name is Adela Sinclair and I'm coming to you live from New York City. I would like to let you all know that my upcoming poetry collection will be published in 2021, and if you'd like to have more details about it, please follow me on Instagram at Adela Sinclair Poet. The book is entitled La Revedere. I would like to start today by reading one of my poems, and I will be reading from the collection today a few poems. Notes on the disappearances of children. Was it autumn? Were we visiting our friends in their small town? Were the city planners dead? A playground outside the town cemetery. The man approached us swiftly. One cannot tell the head from the tail of a snake in the tall grass. The man was wearing a black trench coat. The sky was a deep shade of gray. He glided. A ghost? Run! The crow warned us. We were swinging, our heads high above the fence. The graves and the headstones led the man out of the woods. He came for us. What are children to do? The crow warned us against the approach of the man. No wind, yet the gate keeps ringing. The next poem I will read is entitled Lamp, and it stemmed out of a practice that I started by using one-word prompts to start writing a poem. And I found this to be extremely evocative and lending itself to uncovering and unearthing some of the memories that I have from Romania about my family lineage and my family history. So here it goes. The lamp. Under the lamp, rests my grandmother's electrocuted body. I have not seen her face, smelled her hair, nor felt the caress of her hands in 20 years. A wet cloth in her hand, an unprotected wire from the lamp and the radiator, a closed circuit. Why did she have to clean the day before coming to America? Close your mouth, you greedy child. Don't cry out. It was August 1987. In the heat, a plump body, like the Romanian house I dreamt of last night, happy to return to my hometown of Arad. I moved beside a younger version of my father. With him, all worries perished. A young version of my soul, singing at the thought of a new beginning in an old country. In the black and white photograph, I'm 2 years old. One hand is on the lamp. I'm turned away from the camera. My grandmother's hair is white. She looks at me, knowing somehow she would die twice, once when we left Romania, and once more before we were to be reunited. Part of the collection of poetry that stemmed out of the exercises with one word prompts came this other poem, shorter poem called The Plate. And here it goes. The plate. It flies, white, round, no longer with the purpose to serve or hold. When it hits, it breaks into pieces that spread, sharp, unrelenting, unforgiving, like words. How will our family sit again, eat from what is left of the set, without remembering the broken sister? Following suit is another poem that started with one word, that was drawn out of a hat, and not knowing what the word will be, I pulled it out of the hat, and this is what came of it. The oven. It was very evocative to me, the lamp, the plate, the oven, and I included all of these poems in my poetry collection. The oven. It had been a cold winter in Alba Iulia. Aunt Gica and Uncle Traian were freezing in their bedroom. She turned on the oven and opened the door. This is how they fell asleep. From the gas centrala, someone cut the gas in the neighborhood overnight. Too many people were using their ovens to stay warm. The flames went out. At 6 a.m. the next morning, administrators in regulation gray turned the gas back on at the centrala. The oven door was still open in Gica's kitchen without the flame. My aunt was close to the door. Her body lay there in rigor mortis, one arm reaching up for the handle. She could not open the door. A week later, they were found. Later than death, they were. And killed, they were. I will read one last poem entitled La Revedere. In Romanian, this means goodbye. This experience encompasses how it was like to leave a whole family behind, a whole country behind, my city, my town, my street, my house. And so we have La Revedere, goodbye. La Revedere room, La Revedere house, La Revedere Green Gate number 94, Strada Clujului, La Revedere place where I slid off my bike, your voice slid down my shoulder. I wanted to catch the wind, I swallowed a fly. La Revedere airplane flying low above our house that shakes everything in cupboards, cups, plates, knives, and forks. La Revedere Buni, La Revedere Dedi. I took my bicycle and rode it on the cobblestone street to Alimentara. Nothing was on the shelves of the grocery store. I wanted candy. Mama wanted butter. Tata wanted cigarettes. Buni wanted sugar. Daddy wanted bread. Leftover bread from yesterday's batch slid out of my hands onto the kitchen table. The train choo-chooed farewell as it left the station. La rivedere Arad. La rivedere Alina, Florin, Cristina, Simona, Melania, Luki, and Lavinia. La rivedere Daddy. La rivedere Buni. I passed the neighbor's house on the way to school. A boy pushed me off my bike. I spit and got him. La rivedere. Stoop where the neighbor sat and chewed day-old bread, making more saliva to soften the crust. La rivedere garden where I sat and drew a flower in the grass. The grapes were not ripe. Goodbye on October 25th, 1987. The day I sat on Pan Am, I flew over house. Buni and Daddy heard my roars. The house shook. This is the last. La rivedere.